Thank you. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Noel Schroeder, and I am a sales coordinator with the Juice Plus Company, and it is my pleasure to present Tower Garden 101. A few friends of mine and I are on this call tonight to share Tower Garden with you. We all have Tower Gardens in our homes, and I'm going to sort of share my story as I share some of the factual information about Tower Garden, and then I'm going to let my friends take over, and they're going to share their stories about their growing experience with Tower Garden. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. Okay, so first of all, Tower Garden is brought to you by the Juice Plus Company. So some people think when I tell them about Juice Plus and then they see my Tower Garden, they think it's a separate product from a different company. And I have to reassure them that nope, it's all part of the same company. It's Tower Garden by Juice Plus. And just to give you an overview of what Juice Plus and Tower Garden are all about, we are all about inspiring healthy living and doing that through whole food nutrition products that make it easier, more convenient, more affordable to get more plant nutrition into your body. So we have a very small product line focused on helping people bridge the gap between what they're eating in fruits and vegetables and what they actually should be. With our very busy lifestyles, we're all finding it difficult to get the 10 to 13 servings a day that are, so in that range recommended for healthy people, and actually 13 to 18 for people who have a chronic condition or even people that just exercise on a regular basis. And what I have found quite astonishing is the difference that I've discovered and felt in my own body, because all of the produce in the Juice Plus product line is vine ripened and pesticide free. So not only is it helping me bridge the gap, but it's helping me bridge the gap with really high quality ingredients. And I will be 50 in February, and in my 50 years on this planet, I never had vine ripened pesticide free produce every day like I do now. And so it's just, I can feel such a change in my mental health, my emotional health, and my physical health. So we provide micronutrition in our capsule products, the fruit, veggie, and berry blends, which you see over on the left in the red, green, and purple bottles. Those are in capsules. We also have a vegan full spectrum omega blend is in the orange container, also in a capsule. We have a vegan protein shake as well as a bar, providing the macronutrition of not just protein, but fiber, calories, and lots of superfoods, so more plants. And then we have our Tower Garden, which is what we're going to feature tonight. So some highlights of the Tower Garden are that it is aeroponic, and aeroponic simply means that it is grown without soil, but also that the water is aerated and the roots of the plants are being watered in intervals so that they get a chance to dry out and air out essentially between watering. The aerated water and the intervals prevent, there's just less incidence of bacteria growing, but also the aerated water is providing faster growing and more yield in the plants. It's a vertical garden, which means it's just taking up less space than perhaps a hydroponic, which would be horizontal, or a garden in the ground. We can grow in the Tower Garden indoors and outdoors year round. There is no soil, like I said earlier. And what I love also about the Tower Garden is the sustainability factor, because we're using 90% less water and 90% less land from a traditional garden in the ground. You can grow everything on the Tower Garden except root vegetables and tree fruits. So you can grow all of your vining plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant, as well as your greens, your lettuces, and all of your herbs. So the Tower Garden Flex, we have two Tower Garden products. The Tower Garden Flex is the original Tower Garden, and it is meant for indoor or outdoor growing. It has a 20-gallon reservoir on the bottom for the water, and it is 30 inches in diameter. So it's funny, a lot of people sort of look at the tower garden and think, oh my gosh, it's so big, I could never fit it in my house. Tower garden was actually made for urban gardening. It was made for apartment settings, urban dwellers, and small spaces. So although many of us on this call have a house with a tower garden in it, either way, it's not actually taking up that much space because it is vertical and it's less than 3 feet wide. You can purchase separate accessories for this tower garden, like a dolly, which provides wheels and easier for moving around, lights for indoor growing. There's also a cage you can attach for those vining fruits and vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers. And you can add extension kits or extension sections, which provide more slots for more plants. So you see the image here on the screen is 20 slots, and you can add 2 more sections if you want for 28 plants. And this tower is meant for herbs, greens, lettuces, and all of your flowering fruits and vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers. And you can see all of the things that come with the tower garden kit on the top of the base there. And this is just another example of the Tower Garden Flex. And this is, you know, especially for a beginner tower gardener. And some of the things that you can plant, there are, you know, sort of countless things that you can plant on a tower garden. And this has been beautifully designed with all of the vining vegetables on the bottom so that they have room to sprawl out. And again, you could put a cage on there and let them kind of drape over the cage. And then you have all of your big lettuces and greens in the middle, and then a lot of the herbs towards the top. So I am not a green thumb. I never have liked gardening. And so I think it's sort of a really funny joke that I love to tower garden because I don't like getting my hands in the dirt. I don't like all the labor that goes into gardening in the ground. My boyfriend Eric loves it. He does an amazing job. But tower garden is more my speed. I really just want to eat the healthy food that tastes good. I want it to be convenient and right there. And that's really what the tower garden provides for me. But of course, I love to show off my tower garden. So I have countless photos in my phone, and I'm constantly telling people all about my tower and asking them if they want to see my beautiful lettuce photos. So this is our newer tower garden. This is the tower garden home, and this is the indoor growing with the LED lights coming with the tower garden. It is a smaller, sleeker version of the tower garden with a 13-gallon tank. So it's only 23 inches in diameter. So it's even narrower in terms of its footprint. The wheels are built in. There's also a water fill indicator, which is cool. So it tells you when it's ready to be filled again. And this is, because this is meant for indoor growing, it's really best used for herbs, lettuces, baby greens, and greens. The cage that goes on the larger tower would not fit on this. So if you did decide to do tomatoes and cucumbers indoors, they would have to kind of, you know, drape onto the floor. And the thing about growing tomatoes and cucumbers indoors, and I have done it, and it's a lot of fun, is that you have to be the pollinator because there are no bees in your house to do that job. So it's, you know, it's not overly complicated, but, you know, each plant is a little different in terms of how you pollinate. So you just would want to learn more about what that entails. And, you know, my biggest challenge with it is just remembering to do it, honestly. So we always recommend, especially for beginners, that you really just start with your lettuces, your greens, and your herbs. And what I love about the Tower Garden Home is it has all those slots at the top that are closer together for baby greens because they don't need as much room. So this tower is really meant for those types of foods. It's for indoor growing. And once again, you can see on the bottom there all of those items that are not additional. They actually come with the tower when you order it. And I'm going to talk more about those in a minute. So this is an example of the Tower Garden home with some beautiful plants in it. You can see the baby greens on the top there. So what do I need to grow in a tower garden? So the supplies which come with your initial tower garden kit would be your rock wool cubes. So those are the little pods. They're like a spongy material, and it's made of lava rock that you plant the seeds in, and then they grow into seedlings, which you see there in the center. And then when they are ready, you plop them into the tower. And then your mineral blend. This is replacing what minerals would be in soil. It's an all natural mineral blend that the Tower Garden division of our company sends to you, and it comes with your initial tower, and then you can order more as needed. So you can see up in the right-hand corner is, the rock wool, the seeds that come with your initial tower, our tower kit, the little pots that the rock wool goes in. We also have clips if you'd prefer those. Vermiculite, which is just a funny material that sits on top of the seeds when they're brand new, just to protect them. There is a water pump that goes in the reservoir of water in the bottom, attached to a timer. So you set the timer according to whether it's indoor or outdoor growing, so that the water is, again, watering the roots in intervals as opposed to continuously. And then there is a pH kit also that comes with the Tower Garden to test the water and make sure that it's the correct pH for growing. Excuse me. So we have, like all of our products, we have payment plans. And this is not any kind of credit situation. This is simply the Juice Plus company, in good faith, sending you your product, and then trusting that you're going to pay it in a certain amount of monthly installments. It's pretty amazing. So for outdoor growing, you really just need the Tower Garden Flex. You don't need, the lights. You don't need, necessarily all of the other accessories. And so for just the basic kit, you're looking at $45 a month. If you were to pay it in full, it's $525, and that $45 a month is for 12 months. If you want the other accessories, you can add them to your shopping cart on that initial purchase, and everything will go into that payment plan. The Tower Garden home is a little bit more sort of all-inclusive. It is $970 in full, or $82 a month for 12 months. If you were to add all of the accessories that I mentioned to the Tower Garden Flex on the left, it would be about the same price, about $82 a month for 12 months. If you think about, and if you start to calculate how much money you spend on produce every month, especially if you are very conscientious and trying to buy organic and local and vine ripened and pesticide free, which is hard to find, then you're probably spending about that much, if not more, especially for a whole family. And so if you start to compare, in terms of dollars that you're spending already for produce that's not necessarily all that great, for produce that's completely fresh and pesticide free, you may decide, you may find that this really would fit into your budget. And I'm just going to show off some more photos of my Tower Garden. This is the outdoor setup this summer out on our deck. Eric built a trellis to let the tomatoes kind of vine out away from the tower to give the other plants more room, which was kind of fun. And I did grow strawberries indoors. I think it was 2 winters ago. I haven't done that in a while. I need to get back to it. And these are more photos of my outdoor deck growing as well. So I am going to turn it over to Kelly, who has some stories about her tower that she's going to share with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Noel. Watching your mini presentation, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for tower number 6. So for those that I don't know, my name is Kellie Farrar, and my husband, Kevin, and I live in Brentwood, New Hampshire. And I guess our big claim to fame is we were the first people in New Hampshire to have a tower garden when they launched 5-6 years ago. Kevin and I were sitting in a Juice Plus conference, and I have to preface that 15 years ago when I learned about Juice Plus, like I was all about it. I just brought that into my heart, added it to my passion for helping people, and just ran with the desire to tell everybody about it. And Kevin was, supportive of me. He appreciated all the health benefits that Juice Plus was bringing to our family. But his heart was not as tightly wrapped around it, certainly as mine was. But when we were sitting at this conference 5 or 6 years ago, and the company rolled out our partnership with Tim Blank, who is the creator of Tower Gardens, and announced that we were going to be the kind of residential marketers for Tower Gardens in the US. I've never seen Kevin jump so high out of his seat. He was so excited. And the reason for that is Kevin grew up in more northern New Hampshire, and his family, took responsibility for growing all of their own food. So eating off the land was something that was just part of who he was. And when his family relocated into the city of Chicago when he was a teenager, the ability to do that was lost. So he always longed to grow his own food again. When we moved back to southern New Hampshire and bought a home, we never really thought about the land in which our home was on. We just assumed there was land and we'd be able to have a garden. But unfortunately, when you live in the middle of a pine forest, you have very acidic soil from the droppings of the pine needles that fall pretty much year round. And growing grass is a chore where we live. So growing food became a real challenge and a real expense because it required us to do raised beds and bring in special soil. The time and maintenance of those raised beds was challenging for Kevin because he also commutes about an hour and a half each way to work. So, try as he may, it really wasn't a successful endeavor. But then Tower Garden came along and we got our first tower. And we got, every accessory. We were all in. We were so excited, and we became. And I'm going to change that word. It was not we. It was he. It was Kevin. Kevin is definitely the farmer in our family. I am the professional harvester, and he became, just very passionate about towers and became very experimental in growing, and went through, different seasons of growing and what was going to grow best. And he really kind of dove in from an educational standpoint and was just so incredibly excited about tower. So we got another and another and another and another. And we have 5 towers right now. We grow all 5 outdoors about mid-April through mid-November. And then we bring 1 tower indoors. But I'm so excited because I got a secret little message from Mr. Claus that we will be purchasing our home tower just in time for Christmas. So we will be using the new Tower Garden home this season, which will bring our total tower count to 6, which in the Tower Garden world is actually considered a small farm. So Farmer Kevin is really actually taking that title quite seriously. So, we have grown, just about every single plant that can be grown on the tower, on our towers. And we've learned a lot through the process. We've learned, what grows best in what months. We've learned that tomatoes, like Noel was saying, how Eric built the special trellis so that you could kind of contain them, because there is one thing that I have found is that tower gardens grow incredibly abundantly. So be prepared for abundant food that is just has a taste factor beyond anything you could buy in a grocery store. I mean, I actually have this little girl who walks in the nicer months around the neighborhood with her mom and little brother, and she always runs over to our fence and asks, "Can I have some cabbage leaves? Can I please have cabbage leaves?" And what she's really asking for is lettuce. She doesn't understand. And we say it's lettuce. She's like, "I love cabbage leaves." So what's interesting is her mom says she will not eat lettuce at home. She will only eat lettuce from the Tower Garden, and it's just because of the taste factor. So her mom is super excited next spring to buy their family their first tower. So Noel, thank you so much for just letting me share Kevin's passion for tower gardens and my passion for harvesting and eating off of our tower gardens. And you know, I think my final thought is what an incredible cost savings this has been for our family, because I never really took thought as to how much we were spending just on organic lettuce alone each month. And when I really, started to kind of look at, the cost of our tower versus the cost of the food that we were purchasing, we were spending upwards of $60 a month just on organic lettuce. And never mind the tomatoes and the peppers and the eggplants and all of the herbs. And so for us, it has been a tremendous cost savings. So I can't wait to hear the other stories. Were you going to say something, Noelle?
I was just going to say, and most of that lettuce is, if it's not bad when you open it, it's bad within a few days of opening it. It's because it's been shipped 3,000 miles typically, and
exactly.
So
exactly.
Anyway.
Absolutely. So I guess now we're going to hear from my friend and colleague, Lisa Hynes, sharing her Tower Garden story.
Thanks, Kelly.
You're welcome.
I am Lisa Hynes, and I live in Exeter with my husband, Jeff, and our 2 daughters. I have a background in horticulture, and I've been gardening for most of my life. I was my mom's garden helper when I was a kid. And I think my job was squishing the bugs, which wasn't very fun, but now I make my kids do it, so sort of payback. My husband and I own a fine gardening and stonework business, and we have a gardening client who shared Juice Plus with us a few years ago, and I'm forever grateful for her for the health benefits we've gotten from that. And along the way, I learned about the Tower Garden, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. I have a vegetable garden. I love gardening. I love growing our own food. But in the winter, we can't do that. And it makes me sad. I had this need to grow. And the Tower Garden was my solution to be able to grow indoors when it's cold. And just the whole process of watching things grow from seed to harvest is really amazing. And my kids, they'll eat stuff and they'll check it out and they'll help out. So even though I have a lot of gardening experience, it really is easy to get started with a Tower Garden. Everything you need to get started comes with it. Noelle had the picture of it, and you get pretty much everything except the water. You can start out growing, right when you get it set up, get the seedlings going, and there are sources for seedlings as well. And Erin might talk about that. Her husband's got a business with seedlings now to help us all out with our local source. So these are the little net pots. They're little black pots, and there's clips as well. These are the little rockwool plugs. They're molten lava or spun lava or something like that, and it's just like a sponge. It comes with seeds, but I like to get my own seeds. I use botanical interest, so I've got you get a basic assortment when you start, but I like to experiment and grow more stuff because that's what I like to do, and I want to eat all the different things, so I grow all the different things. So there's different kinds of kale, there's chard, there's even lemon basil. Basil grows awesome in the Tower Garden. There's nothing like basil in the middle of the winter to make pesto with. So It's great for anyone who eats a lot of salads and greens, herbs. You like to cook. Bok choy works really well. The bok choy you get in the grocery store is usually wilted, and who knows where it's from, who knows what it's been sprayed with. The bok choy that I grow on the tower garden, the seeds that came with the kit, I'm still using from 3 years ago, and the leaves are like this big around. So you just harvest what you need and use it to cook. You can use the greens for juicing, for smoothies, cooking, herbs, just pick and taste. And there's nothing like a fully grown tower garden that you can walk up to and just start snacking off of it in the middle of the day, rather than, making something. You just start snacking off the tower garden and you've got your greens for the day. I like experimenting with different things. So I change out the ports every couple months. You just start a couple new rockwool plugs with seedlings every few months. And when something starts getting older, you change it out and you pop one of the new ones in and you get a whole new crop of lettuce. And the tower is great because once you cut something, it will grow back and it'll just keep growing and growing, and you just keep picking and eating. So it really pays for itself. I bought greens last week and I couldn't use them quick enough, and I opened up the container and they're mush. So once they start going bad, you can't really use them. I ended up with a huge container the other day going to a potluck, and the potluck got canceled. And so now I have the big container, and I know that, within a couple days it's going to be bad. But once the tower's going, I'm never going to have bad salad. I'm just always going to have fresh. And another benefit of the tower is the lights and the water trickling. In the middle of winter, the lights and the water and the green growth, they really help if you have like seasonal affective disorder or the winter blues. To have this really brightens my day and makes me happy, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my body and putting healthy things in it. And watching this makes me realize that, spring is going to come at some point, and then I'll just move it outdoors and start a whole new cycle. So that's my story. Thank you very much, Noel. And I'm not sure who's next. Maybe Erin.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, we're gonna move it over to Erin, and I think all of us have also had a chance to bring tower gardens into schools. I think Erin's going to talk a little bit about that. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, guys. It's great to hear everybody's stories. I love it. My husband and daughter and I live in Newmarket, New Hampshire, and we've been taking Juice Plus for about 4 years. And a couple years ago, my husband was the one that was fixated on getting a tower. I wanted it too, but he was definitely the one that was driving that train. So we ended up with 2, and he's amazing at it. He's a chef, so he utilizes, so much from the tower and what he's cooking. And he even grows now his own seedlings and is selling them locally for people that want to just make it a little easier instead of growing from seeds. So he's got a whole setup with that. There's Francesca. And and then he's got quite the touch, because there were just things that I didn't even know we would be able to grow besides the tomatoes, cucumbers, and he had Italian eggplant and patty pan squash and 30 peppers at one point. They were all hidden. I thought we had like 10. He says, no, count, there's 30. I couldn't believe it. Some strawberries and just loads of other stuff. So it's been pretty cool. And then I run a preschool play group at our recreation center, and we got a donation for a tower. So we started it last month with the kids. And it's just amazing to see the 3 to 5-year-olds already starting to get comfortable with what this is and planting, and they come in every day and they're like, wow, they just can't believe the growth. And we've got sugar snap peas that are just vining all over the place, and some other things going. So it's exciting. It's neat because our elementary school has 4 towers now, and so now we're starting them before they even get to elementary school. These little ones are going to be experts before they even get there, and they're going to know what it is. So it's been a great experience for all of us. And my husband's the one that's really the farmer, but I'm the harvester as well with Kelly. So, and this one too. So, but it's been great. So that's our story.
Thank you, Erin. Yes, I'm the harvester and eater as well. And just to give you all a little bit of a history, Tim Blank is the inventor of Tower Garden, and he, as a kid, and he's about my age, as a kid, he went to Disney World with his family for vacation, and they went to Epcot and the land exhibit where there are lots of hydroponics, type, all kinds of hydroponic and aeroponic growing going on there, and he was fascinated by it. And so he ended up interning there and then working for them at Disney. And then he went out on his own because he really had a vision for, why is this just at Disney World, and why can't this be a way to make food more accessible to everyone on the planet? Because we have literal food deserts, not only in actual deserts, but in our own country where they just don't have access to fresh food on a regular basis. And living in New Hampshire, I wouldn't say we're in a food desert, but certainly from a climate perspective, we have a very short growing season. And we're lucky in that many of the farmers in the area have, turned to winter gardening, and we now have winter farmers markets, but it's still more like, I don't know how often they happen, but they don't happen as often as, the summer farmers markets. So, so it's just amazing to have your own farmers market in your own house and to be growing in this way, and for us to be bringing them into schools and really, expanding people's options around the globe around what, food accessibility looks like and fresh food looks like. And literally in the desert, I'm forgetting where. Kelly, can you refresh my memory? But Stephen Ritz has brought Tower Gardens over to Dubai in United Arab Emirates, literally in the desert, so that they can also start growing their own food aeroponically. So it's very exciting to be a part of this company and this mission of inspiring healthy living, and this very small product family that is just bound and determined to help people around the world get healthier. And so we invite you to take a closer look at all of our products. And if you have questions about any of them, if you'd like more information, please connect with the person who invited you to this call tonight, and let them know that you'd like more. And we're so glad that you came on here and joined us tonight. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a fabulous evening. And we did record it, so for anyone that did miss it, we can send them the recording.